Hi, my name is Pete from Witness the Fitness Training Studios in Nottingham. In today's video we're going to show you how to effectively set up a bike to make sure your cycling is effective and safe and we're not straining knees, backs and other joints. Overall, usually what happens is the advice is to turn up a little bit earlier to your spin class, make sure you're set up right. If you're new to this and you've never seen the bike or adjusted it, usually people turn up just a minute before the class is due to start. The instructor rushes them through setup and it might not be quite in the place what we need it to be. So definitely once you've seen today's video, go and have a practice, make sure you know how things move because every bike is slightly different, and make sure you're set up in the right position. Hopefully after today's video you'll know where that position is. So bikes are generally seat handles and a nice flywheel crank from the pedals. Each area generally has an adjustment. So we've got the handles, the adjustment at the front. The seat has two adjustments. One underneath the seat where we can move that forwards and backwards, and then one further down that brings it up or up and down to get it relative to our height. The first one we're going to start with is the height of the seat. So what we want to do is pop our heel on the back bar of the bike and then generally look where our hip bone meets. And all we're going to do is adjust the height of the seat to meet the height of the hip bone. This is a nice crude measurement, so I just, with these ones unscrew, popping out, and I'm just going to measure that out to the height of the hip. Once I'm happy that's roughly where it needs to be, I'll re-tighten the adjustment to make sure it's locked into place. Next thing we're going to look at is the saddle position, moving that forward and back. Again, as a general rule, we're looking for elbow, fingertips to be roughly in line, creating no space between that point. So that's pretty much bang on for me, but if you did need to adjust it, adjustment underneath, I slide it to and fro, make sure it's tightened in so I can fit my arm's length in at the front there. So that leaves the handle position. Now as a rule, we want that either in line with the seat, or if you're new to it as a beginner, have that a little bit higher so it does save your back muscles a little bit and we can hold posture a little bit higher. So pull pin and readjust, and I'm going to go a tad bit higher than the seat and make sure that's tight in. Now the key thing to remember that these are general setups for my body position, and now I need to see how my body moves to make sure that these are correct before I memorise the numbers that are on the adjustments that I've set it to. So I'm going to pop onto the lowest side of the pedal and have a seat on. First thing I'm going to double check is the height of the seat overall. So I'm going to push that to the bottom, and what I should have is a soft bend in the knee that it's extended, and then as I bring it round it's nice and high in the knee, but I've got a slight slope from the knee to the hip. So I've got that sloping action from hip to the knee. So if you adjust it and the knees are really high to the hip, the seat's a little bit too low. If you go to the bottom and you're fully locked out or you're stretching to straining, then the seat's a little bit too high. So at that point, don't be afraid to get off, readjust it, get back on. Soft bend, knee slightly lower than hip on a slight bend. So that's a good position there. I'm then going to move my feet pretty much clock angle of 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And what I'm looking for is that this front knee, once my feet are into the pedals, aren't surpassing the toes. So if I'm kind of move forwards here, then I know the saddle position is too far forward, and then that needs to bring back. I'll readjust it as I need to. As you can see, my knee angle pretty much lines up between my toe or slightly behind. That's a good position from that. If the handles can be too low and I'm not very strong, I don't want to be rounding off from the back. I want a nice tall position and tilt forward from the hip. So I've got all the handles, the seat and saddle position, height and distance from the bar set up. Go through them checks first before we then proceed with the next bits of how we actually ride and the riding positions that we use within spin. Now, once you're happy that you are set up, the next thing we want to do is secure our feet in. So the spin bike is a free wheel that once we've built a little bit of momentum, it's going to keep it going. So we want to make sure that we're interacting with the pedal at all times. So I put my foot in, from there, give the adjustment a pull, and then slot it through the safety loop. When I want to come out, I'll take it through out of the bottom loop and just give the metal clip a little push. So I'm secured in. Now, the technique overall is very simple. So what I'm looking to do is create a nice rounding motion with the pedaling action, keeping my feet as flat as I can and pushing through the heel. After pushing through the heel, I want to be making sure I've got a little bit of tension with the adjustment at the front. So I've got a little bit of a pulling action. So my quads are going to push the heel down, and then I'm actively trying to lift the foot with the hamstrings as well. As we move to the upper body, I'm tilted forward from the hip. That's bringing me forward to the handlebars, keeping my back nice and neutral and my shoulders away. That is your general position where we should be riding overall. As always, with a free wheel, we need to use the resistance or the brake to make sure we're stopping nice and steady. Get yourself out of the straps and make sure you dismount nice and smoothly. Hope you found this useful. Remember, make sure you get to your gym session, your spin session prior, and have an adjustment and make sure we're adjusting handles, the seat position. Get these right, look for the angles that we're showing you in this video, and enjoy your spinning session.